Hey, how y'all doing? This is SEIJIHITO here to bring you the news. It is currently 5:22 a.m., Monday, March 18th, 2024. So this is a bit of a interesting story. The story is about a New Jersey father who decided to barge into a classroom of which a young man, who his daughter stated has been bullying or causing problems with her. The father decided to confront that young man and have a conversation with him. And then while having that conversation, a classmate, male classmate, decided that he wanted to step in and say a few words, instead of actually minding his business. But I have two of the clips here, and we're going to take a bit of a listen to what it is that the news has to state specifically about this father defending his daughter.
Situation has been the talk of the town, especially since it was all caught on camera. Now, despite the recording, there is still a lot of questions remaining on how this happened and why it happened.
I was surprised. I thought it could have definitely been handled differently.
Nyrell Thompson is a student at Paulsboro High School. She says all day her classmates have been talking about this video that has been circulating around social media and was sent to Fox 29 News. It shows a parent on Monday who was supposed to be picking up his child entering into a classroom at the high school and immediately confronting a student.
I didn't know to it.
The criminal complaint identifies the parent as Aaron Thomas of Gibbstown. The video goes on to show Thomas going back and forth with a student, who Thomas is heard in the video saying was allegedly bothering his daughter. Moments later, it appears that an adult tries to intervene and calm the situation down, when things quickly escalated again, with Thomas then beginning to argue with another student in the classroom.
I think it should have been handled parent to parent instead of student or outside of the school.
Thomas is being charged with several offenses, which include entering in an unauthorized section of the school, threatening to punch and knock out a student, and also committing assault, specifically by grabbing the student's arm and getting in his face.
We've been talking about it, and I've been telling my kids that if it was my son or my daughter, I would have went to the principal and handled it like that, and then I would have talked to my kids.
The Paulsboro Public School District releasing this statement stating, "Safety and security of our staff and students is paramount. Unfortunate situations such as these gives us an opportunity to reflect and analyze current practices to further strengthen the district's safety and security procedures to ensure that our schools are a safe place for all students and staff." Wednesday afternoon, Fox 29 News stopped by the home of Thomas to ask about the situation, but nobody answered the door. Back at the high school, many parents are just happy nobody got seriously hurt during the incident.
It's always like something that you don't want happening. You don't know if he's armed, you don't know if he has a knife or anything like that, so it's very scary.
Now, while we were at Thomas's house, a woman did drive up to the home and did say that she lived there, but wouldn't say who she was, but did mention that the family does have an attorney, and she's hoping in the future they'll be able to tell their side of the story.
Right. So we were able to hear that, right? So let me just read a little bit more. They said Thomas was later arrested and charged with simple assault, making terroristic threats, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. He was released Tuesday until a trial could be held on the charges, but a judge ordered that he must have no contact with the students involved or their families and must maintain monthly contact with court officials. Meanwhile, the 15-year-old boy who was confronted by Thomas was back in class on Wednesday, but was forced to leave after receiving anonymous threats on on a cell phone. His parents stated they condemned the school officials for failing to swiftly respond as their son was being berated by an angry father, and they are considering pulling the boy out of public school district, but the son is totally distraught at the idea. The parents also dismissed the notion that Thomas was simply trying to defend his daughter. Quote, "We're talking about a 15-year-old child doing children nonsense and a father taking matters into his hands." The boy's father also stated, and not to mention how the teacher in the classroom stood there idly by watching as this all happened. And then they say dad defends daughter. He said of those coming to Thomas's defense. No, the dad was a coward. I want to just explain this to a lot of people. If you got a child that is bullying or harassing another student, the school system doesn't do anything. We all know this. We've seen far too many stories that have pointed this out, that have talked about these issues. For you to be the father of the boy who was causing issue with Thomas's daughter, for you to call him a coward from wherever angle that you're sitting at is preposterous. This father decided to actually do something before anything stepped in and went further, right? It is checks and balances. Because obviously, you being a father are not the actual, man of the household. Because if you were, then you would have actually checked your son instead of deciding to go through the news and deciding to call Mr. Thomas a coward. You could have just decided to have a conversation directly with him, but you didn't want to sit up there and do that. You didn't want none of that smoke at all. I just want to reiterate to a lot of parents out here, this is what it looks like when you don't have control over your kids. Adults have to step in and gain control over the situation and over your kids, because you're not parents enough to actually parent your children or your child. And it's like I said, it's crazy to me to hear a father try to call a real father a coward, because let this had went to some extenuating circumstances where kids get bullied and they have all types of names and they get harassed all throughout school. What if his little girl decided to take this to the other end of the spectrum? What would have been your response as that father of that boy? What would you have stated to that father? What would you have stated? It would have been nothing that you could state. You would have tried to sit up there and say, "Oh, a lot of kids were doing it. You can't just, pin what happened. I'm sorry what happened, but you just can't, pin that directly on my child," and yada yada. No, 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 no. Like I said, far too often, the school system does not do anything when it deals with a lot of these kids directly out here. Yo, what's up, King's kid? Good morning. Good morning. The school system doesn't do anything about these kids at all, and that, again, it is just a fact. It is exactly what it is. The superintendents don't do anything about the kids at all. The school board doesn't do anything about the kids at all. 9 times out of 10, the kids who are actually in the right get punished more than the kids who are actually in the wrong or who may have started a fight or what have you. It's the craziest and most backwards ass thing that I've ever seen in my life. But this is where we are. And then, they showcased one father there, and he was like, well, if that was me, I would have just, went to the teachers and, the principal's office and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I guess. But again, sometimes, I'm not exactly sure what the situation was when it dealt with his father, but he felt the need that he needed to pull up to the school and go to the classroom where his daughter was and have a conversation with that student. And by all means, had that conversation. Because again, this is the difference between parents who are actually parents versus quote unquote adults who are just bystanders of their kids. It's a clear cut difference. Like I said, this is a father. This man is willing to go to jail, and he did go to jail directly for his daughter. He stood directly on that. He was like, "Yo, you got a problem? We can handle this right now." Because people forget and tend to understand that a lot of these quote unquote teenage boys out here try to play the role and act as if they're grown men. These are the same teenage boys out here who like to go out there and cause a ruckus, get directly into fights, and they want to posture in front of grown men, thinking that they could sit up there and take any and every single grown man directly out here and knock them out. Yo, what's up, brother Exile? What is up? What is up? So, you know, again, respect to the father. But I wanna put this to a further extent to show how the media likes to play games. So let's go to this next clip real quick.
confrontation inside Paulsboro High School. A student's mother now speaking out after her son was caught on camera face to face with the classmate's father.
That dad walking right into a classroom, accusing at least one student of bothering his daughter.
And Greg, you spoke with the mom. What is she telling you about what happened here?
Yeah, well, Sheba and Jason, that young man was in the classroom, and what the mother and aunt are telling us is that that young man was just trying to defend the student who was being confronted by the father.
I was just so distraught, I didn't even know what to do.
On Monday, Faith Bagby was shocked to find her son in the middle of a viral video taken inside Paulsboro High School. The video, which was sent to Fox 29, shows a parent on Monday who was supposed to be picking up his child, entering into a classroom at the high school and immediately confronting a student.
I didn't know to it.
The criminal complaint identifies the parent as Aaron Thomas of Gibbstown. The video goes on to show Thomas going back and forth with a student, who Thomas is heard in the video saying was allegedly bothering his daughter. The video does appear to show an adult try to intervene and calm the situation down.
Why wasn't he taken out of that classroom? You got your hand on his back like you're caressing his back. You don't look like you're trying to get him out of there.
And that's when the situation escalates, and Thomas starts to argue with another student, Bagby's son.
He was telling the boy that the guy was in his face. You don't got to say nothing. Don't say nothing. And that's when the guy must have didn't like that and hopped in his face. So he had nothing to do with it at all. He was just an innocent bystander protecting his classmate.
So let me just roll that back real quick. Hold on. Brother Exile said, I hate to say I can relate to this story as a father. I left my job and went off on the staff, pulled my daughter out of public school. She is now being homeschooled. She was harassed for yeets and I had enough. Now, like I said before, I'm sorry that happened. No parent should, in a sense, have to, go through that. But again, we're dealing with the school system and we're dealing with a lot of kids out here who don't actually got parents. It's a difference between the actual parents versus the adults who are bystanders of their own kids, directly out here. A lot of parents will allow their kids to just run amok and do anything that they want to do. And then as soon as that, something happens, now it's a woe is me, where is the school system and yada, yada, yada. But yet, your kid was a troublemaker. And that's the craziest part. Like, the school system will do whatever they can in order to protect the troublemaker. But yet real parents are like, yo, I got to handle this a little bit differently because obviously they're not, for my child. I'm the only one that's for my child. Let me just pull them directly out of school. Like we're just going to be done with the whole situation. We're just going to get them out of the situation and, let it be what it's going to be. Like I said, it's crazy how this stuff basically takes place. And the one thing I want to bring up, and I have to show the dynamic how it is. The father is there. I have to frame it like this because far too long, a lot of people in the Black community like to say that Black fathers do not exist. Black fathers do exist. And, case in point, matter of fact, let me make sure I get the brother's picture directly up here. I got to make sure to show off the father's picture, even though he's sitting up there in orange at this moment in time. It is what it is. He stood up for his daughter. So this is in a sense a little bit different. It ain't even really negative at this moment in time because again, if people are actually parents out here, they standing on everything when it deals specifically, with their children. And this father is standing on everything when it deals directly with his daughter. So again, I just have to sit up there and reiterate, this is what a Black father looks like. This is what a father looks like when he actually gives a damn about his child. And if the child rolls up and say like, yo, dad, I got a problem. The school system ain't doing nothing. Well, he's about to sit up there and lace up the boots and he about to roll up there unannounced. He's going to be announced, but it's going to be unannounced at the same time. And God help whoever that child is, especially if it's a boy, God help you. Because I'm not sure what religion that, your family might believe in, but you're going to need every single God in existence to help you in that situation. And for that young man being in that classroom, whatever guys that his family believes in, they were there with him at that moment in time. Because that father could have put hands directly on him, hands and feet. Because, like I said, again, I don't know the situation, but I know how young boys are. And I know what young boys like to sit up there and do, and how I feel and how they feel that they can skate by and do whatever it is they want to do when it pertains specifically to, female peers directly out here. And you have a lot of mothers that will enable that type of behavior from their sons. So again, you got a woman out here talking about, hey, my son was just a bystander. Well, he should have bystanded his ass directly on the side. This didn't have nothing to do with your son. He didn't have to be in that situation if he would have just sat his ass down, minded his business, and kept his nose directly in the book. Nobody hired him to be security for his friend. He got himself into a situation that had nothing to do with him. His friend was the one that got himself in that situation. Let his friend deal with it. By all means, ma'am, you need to teach your son to mind his business, because your son is the type that's going to sit up there and get locked up with his best friend, trying to sit up there and defend him, trying to sit up there and have an extra conversation with the police after police already got records, video, whatever it is, of your son's friend deciding that he was driving recklessly. He was drinking and driving. He was selling drugs. He had some drugs. He going to get himself locked up. He going to get hemmed up real quick. You better sit up there and teach him. Like I said, this is why fathers are needed in the household, because a father would have sat up there and told that young man, you better sit your ass down. The moment of time you see a situation and it don't have nothing to do with you, mind your business. Sit your ass down. He decided not to sit his ass down. And guess what happened? When a grown man was having a conversation with a child, another child decided to become the new challenger. So, as grown men do, we going to accept that challenge. And now you want to be on the news acting all bewildered and a little bit confused. You need to, as a mother, as a black mother at that, you need to be making sure to check the friends that your son has, so that he don't get his ass caught up. Like I said, why is the father, not specifically, speaking, directly about this? Why is there only one father on the scene that's actually doing something, doing the job of the school system, doing the job of the superintendent, doing the job of the school board? Why is there only one adult that's caring about this situation? That's all I'm saying. But let's continue. Shout out to King Black in the building. Say you made it to Wayne County. Okay, I see you out here. I see you out here. Let's continue.
Protecting his classmate.
Court paperwork shows Thomas is being charged with several offenses, including entering an unauthorized section of the school, threatening to punch a student, and assault for allegedly touching a student and getting in his face.
I'm mad at the school. I'm mad at the administrators. I'm mad at security. I've been to plenty of basketball games. They've run down on these kids. Can't even stand on the court without them running down on them. But an adult come into the school and act up, and everybody don't know what to do.
The Paulsboro School District says they are.
So I'm going to pause it right there. I want y'all to understand. They had 3 women out of the one black father that magically they saw, that they had a conversation with in an earlier video. Even in contrast, they had a Caucasian woman roll up there and sitting up there stating like, oh, they're so dangerous out here. Somebody could have had a weapon or whatnot or whatever, and yada yada. I'm like, how are you making this more than exactly what it was? You got kids every day that be bringing guns to schools, but you're worried about a father that's confronting a teenage boy about an issue or a problem that's going on when it deals with harassment dealing with his daughter. Why are you not speaking about the tons of kids that are bringing, knives and guns and drugs directly into the schools where your children are? Why are you not worried about that? Why are you trying to sit up there and hype even need to be at? Like I said, it's crazy to me. So you got one father in the first video that spoke and said he would have went through the chain of commands when it dealt with the school system. You got a Caucasian woman that tried to hype up the story and try to, become a victim overnight. And then in the second video, they're showcasing 2 black women speaking against the father. How do we get here? How do we get here? People are like, oh yeah, they just be sitting up there like running up on the kids. How about more? If somebody's running up on kids, that means that there's a lack of protection there, right? That means that the actual parents that should be there ain't actually there, because if the parents were there, guess what? Can't nobody run up on no kids, though, right? So that's how you solve the problem. Have parents actually be parents. Have adults actually be adults. Have guardians actually be guardians. Instead of getting on the news talking about it, how about you collectively get all of those parents that ain't actually parents, that actually ain't worth shit, How about you actually get them together so that they can actually be parents? How about you formulate some community parenting classes for a lot of ain't shit parents directly out here? How about that one? It's amazing to me that if you got a black father out here that's about standing for his kids, he's demonized. But yet they don't demonize the fathers out here that abandon their kids. How that work? How that work to me? And like I said before, I have to show these videos like this so people can understand the optics on how it is that they try to sit up there and frame black men directly out here. You got a father that stood up for his daughter. Too many times in the black community, people sit up there and say that black fathers are non-existent. Black fathers don't care. They run away from their responsibilities. Black men ain't shit, yada, yada, yada. So the moment in time that you actually do got a black father that's standing up here, what did the media sit up there and do? We're going to sit up there and show two black women that are angry that this black man stood up for his daughter. Wow. Wow. Look at how that works. So basically, if you are a black man at the end of the day and you're a father, guess what? You are damned if you do, damned if you don't. You are consistently going to be an enemy. It doesn't matter who it is. And the media will make sure that you will forever be an enemy, and they will make sure to sit up there and put black women, or to show black women speaking against you, even if their child was directly in the wrong. And then the most interesting part is the father of the son who was getting confronted in the video. He's talking directly by way of the news. He didn't want to have a conversation with another man to actually get this situated. He didn't want to do that. I wonder why. I wonder why. Now, notice how you don't have, anybody speaking negatively against that father talking by way of the news. Real men actually have conversations, either over the phone, face to face, video, however it is. Two men can sit up there and have that conversation. You even had a younger girl in the first video decide that she said, like, hey, I feel like this should have been handled differently. No, there's sweetheart. There's no other way to sit up there and handle this, because at the end of the day, if that little girl, whatever harassment or what was going on, if that young girl would have sat up there and ended up losing her life over harassment, what would everybody be saying here? A lot of the parents would be like, well, it wasn't my child's fault. My child didn't have anything to do with that. I taught my child right. Yeah. It'll be all this other type of BS trying to make sure that their kid don't get caught up and get blamed for the reason why it is that things ended the way that they ended. So I'm looking at this father trying to take preventative measures to make sure things don't go to that extent, because I've covered stories before where kids out here ended up taking their lives because the situation is dealing with schools, because nobody was listening. Nobody cared. Parents didn't want to be parents. Guardians didn't want to be guardians. The school system didn't want to protect the kids. The superintendent didn't sit up there and care. The school board didn't care. The only one that actually cared is the person that got to sit up there and bury their kid at the end of the day. The only person that cared is a person that now doesn't get to see their child, cross the finish line when the deals are graduating. Like I said before, shout out to this father, and shout out to the rest of the fathers that are actually about and in their children's lives. Like I said before, it's a shame when it deals with black men, how it is that they will get framed and how it is that they will get demonized for doing the right thing. And again, that's the one thing I'm tired of. And that's the main reason that I decided to wake up at 4 or 5 and do a quick live stream directly about this, because this type of framework is completely devious and it's evil at the end of the day. And even if with me showcasing this, you'll still have naysayers directly out there. Oh, well, that's bad for him, but all the other black, it'll be that type of stuff. But nobody wants to pay attention to the optics on how it is that the media is pitting, black women, the black community, against a father that actually cares directly about his child, and he's willing to sit up there and do everything to make sure that that child is fine and dandy at the end of the day. So like I said, to the fathers out there, to the black fathers that actually give a damn about their kids, much love, respect, and appreciation to y'all. We need more like y'all directly out here. We also need more of y'all to be highlighted, because again, even when it deals with stories like this, there magically has to be a negative attached directly to it. I wish we can happen to talk about stories and look at it as is. A father protecting his daughter at the end of the day because the school system wasn't doing it. The superintendents wasn't doing it. The rules that they got written for the kids that they're supposed to follow, those rules ain't doing it. And then the parents of the children, they're not doing anything to protect other people's kids from their kid. So, like I said, it's tough. It's tough. King's kid said, I can't blame the father. Anybody sharing photos of his daughter was asking for it. Pink said, good morning, good morning, good morning. We got DSA 1 in the building. So, like I said, I just wanted to, do this to bring this up because it was making me pretty angry just, looking at the videos and reading through the news articles, when it specifically, dealt with the story. And again, if I had another picture directly of, the father instead of him being in a jumpsuit, I would have, put that directly up here. But again, he was a father that stood 10 toes down directly for his daughter. He was, released. They told him that he has to just make sure to stay away from, anybody that was involved in the situation, also including the family. But realistically, I feel like if he was able to have a conversation with the family, that would be the best way to get everything situated, at the end of the day. Because the adults should be able to actually talk and have, conversations. And hopefully for the young girl that, was going through whatever issue, at school, hopefully things are better. Hopefully, the other students they are on notice to not say anything or to do anything that may cause wrath to show directly back up at that school again, because I promise you, more than likely he will show up to that school again. Because when you look at this man's face, he's like, yeah, I did it. Whatever you say I did, I did. That is the face that he got. So, I'm pretty sure that none of the students are really trying to see him at all. And if the father's like this, I can only imagine what the mother is like. So for the girls out there, hopefully, you stay on your P's and Q's and you decide, not to cause any issues with this girl. Because if the mother's anything like the father, oh, it's on site. It is going to be directly, on site, for you. And again, I just want to reiterate, this is why it is important to have, fathers. This is why it's important to have Black fathers. This is the key thing right there. Black fathers do defend. Black fathers do value. Black fathers do love their family. They do love their kids. If out of anything that anybody could potentially take away from this story, it's the fact that this father loves his daughter at the end of the day. And he is willing to go through hell and high water in order to make sure that she is going to be fine and dandy. I'm pretty sure that this man would come back from the grave if he heard that his daughter had any issues. That man is sitting up there like dusting off the suit, opening that casket door. He was like, "We about to go one more time." He gonna be like, "Hell can't have me yet until I say so." I'm telling you, like, yo. We got Lotus in the building, said peace, said just stop by to say hi. What is up? Much love, respect, and appreciation. And good morning to you as well, Lotus. But yeah, much love to everybody, in attendance. Thank y'all for stopping by on this great Monday morning. Hopefully, if any of you guys are, about to be getting off work, hopefully this little bit of a video might have potentially, helped out. Anybody driving like King Black, hopefully this might have helped out on a little bit on the ride there. Anybody just waking up, much love, respect, and appreciation. I hope everybody make it back home the same way y'all woke up, safe and sound and healthy and completely aware, But oh, Brother Exile said it's vacation time. Oh, so this man is probably on a PS5 right now. He should be actually playing some Helldivers. That's what me and King Black was playing at a point in time. For the brother had to, leave out for work. Good old Helldivers. If you don't know about that game, Brother Exile, you should check that out. Check out that good old Helldivers. But again, much love, respect, and appreciation. Shout out to anybody who has donated to the platform by way of PayPal, Cash App, and Patreon. Much love, respect, and appreciation. And I will catch you guys on the next. This is probably the shortest live stream I've done in a minute. So yeah, I will catch you guys on the next live stream. Well, live stream number 79. Peace out and good morning.